James had always been a cautious gambler. It was a cold, rainy night when he walked into the casino for what he swore would be his last game. Fate, however, had other plans. He won a substantial sum, enough to change his life. But when he returned home, drenched and weary, he found his wife Claire gone, along with the money. Desperation turned to fury, and fury turned into a vow. James would get his revenge, but before he could act, he was found dead under mysterious circumstances. The police ruled it a heart attack, but whispers in the town spoke of something more sinister. Some said he died of heartbreak, others murmured of betrayal. Claire, now living off James's winnings, tried to bury her guilt. She moved to a new city, bought a new house, and tried to start anew. But James wasn't done with her. From beyond the grave, he sought his retribution. It began subtly. The temperature in the house would drop suddenly, and Claire would feel an icy hand graze her cheek. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, always just out of sight. She could hear whispers at night, too faint to comprehend but unmistakably malicious. Months turned into years, and the haunting grew more intense. Objects moved on their own, doors slammed shut, and mirrors shattered without warning. Claire's sleep was plagued with nightmares of James's face, twisted with rage, looming over her. She could hear his voice, accusing and relentless. "You stole my life!" Desperate, Claire sought help from priests, psychics, and paranormal investigators. But nothing worked. The entities she contacted confirmed her worst fears. James was not just haunting her. He was bound by a deep-seated need for vengeance. The money she stole was cursed, and as long as she possessed it, his wrath would never cease. On the 10th anniversary of James's death, Claire decided she could bear it no longer. She packed a suitcase with what little she could carry, abandoning the house and the cursed money within it. But as she drove away, a dark realization hit her. The haunting wasn't bound to the house. It was bound to her. Her car sputtered and died on a deserted stretch of road. The night was eerily silent. Claire felt a familiar chill as she stepped out, the air around her turning frigid. She saw him then, James's ghostly figure, illuminated by the pale moonlight. His eyes burned with a cold fury. "You can't escape me, Claire," he whispered, his voice a chilling echo. "I will have my revenge." Panicked, Claire ran through the woods, branches clawing at her skin, her breath coming in ragged gasps. James was relentless, his apparition appearing in front of her, beside her, behind her. Each time she saw him, his form grew more tangible, more real. She stumbled into a clearing and found herself at the edge of a cliff. The drop was sheer, the rocks below jagged and unforgiving. Claire turned to face James, her eyes wide with terror. "Please, James, forgive me," she pleaded, tears streaming down her face. James's ghost stepped closer, his hand reaching out. Claire felt the coldness seep into her bones as his fingers brushed her skin. His grip tightened, and she felt herself being pulled towards the edge. "Forgiveness was never an option," he hissed. With a final desperate scream, Claire was pushed over the edge. She fell, her mind a whirlwind of fear and regret. Her body crashed against the rocks, and the world went dark. James stood at the cliff's edge, watching the waves claim her. Slowly, his form began to dissipate, his vengeance finally sated. The ghost of a once loving husband turned into an avenging specter, faded into the night, leaving behind only the whisper of a broken promise.